Hi Andrew, welcome to Dublin. Thanks for coming to this pub here in Ireland to have a conversation about what's happening. And just to tell you a bit about the work I've done, I founded a grassroots group, the Natural Women's Council, and we've been campaigning for the last few years against the ideologies and the things like transgenderism being pushed onto children. And it's all being done under the guise of kindness and inclusivity. So for example, this year in Ireland, we have a new anti-bullying policy coming into every school down to age 4 called Be Conalta, which means be kind in the Irish language. And what this does is brings in transgender issues down to age 4, whereby every child will be expected to be an ally for all of these trans-identifying kids that the schools will produce. So the objective, I hope, with today's conversation is that you can shed some light and insight, but really leave us with maybe a bit of hope and optimism for what's happening across the world and also here in Ireland. So you were one of the pioneers to speak out against things before they hit mainstream. So you spoke out on the COVID, immigration, the gender issues, and taking that position requires net zero. And taking that position when you're at some point a minority requires a lot of courage, conviction, and you do things at personal and professional sacrifice. In light of all of this, what would you say to the individuals here in Ireland, so that's the teachers teaching our children, parents, civil servants, or even fellow politicians that sense that certain societal trends may be heading in the wrong direction, but they struggle to find the courage or platform to speak out? What advice would you give them to find that voice?
Well, it is, you're right. It is a global campaign, the trans agenda, pushed by the WHO and the United Nations. I think it's been accepted throughout all of our lives that the progressive society only moves in one direction. It's like a ratchet, and you can't turn it back. Well, what we've seen in America with Donald Trump's second administration is that at a stroke, he's just pushed it all back. And the fact that will make a huge difference to American society very quickly. And the appetite for that change and the fact that it can be delivered with the political will and the support of the people, that's going to be infectious. I think we passed peak woke probably 18 months ago. I think honestly it's the echoes of the movement now, and we're going to finish it off. Quite rightly too.
Absolutely. And it brings me to the question about the administration. It has a big influence on what happens with policy. And in Ireland, our government is not listening to the parents. We have thousands of parents pushing back. And I know in June 2023, just about coming up on 2 years, you attempted to put through a bill aimed at safeguarding children and parental rights to protect children from being socially transitioned in school.
Without the parents'
knowledge. So your child could go into school, be socially transitioned, identify as a boy at school, and go home as a girl with their parents, and their parents would have no idea. That's something that would terrify me as a mother. Now,
Isn't it amazing that you have to be 18 to have a tattoo or join the army or get married, but you can decide to change your gender at any age and have the support of the state without your parents' knowledge or guardians' knowledge to do so. It doesn't make sense.
It's state-sponsored child abuse, and at that time, the bill 2 years ago was only blocked by a narrow vote. I think it was 40 to 34. So with the Cass review that came out last April 2024, the UK Supreme Court ruling, public awareness rising, do you think if that bill were put forward today, the result would be different? Is the tide turning?
It would be had we the makeup of the Parliament we had in 2023. Unfortunately, we have a lot more Labour MPs in there now. I mean, to stop my bill going forward, the Conservative government had to threaten MPs with the loss of the whip and deselection. And it was MPs who weren't standing at the next election who didn't care and still voted with their conscience that gave me those votes. But unfortunately, I mean, at the moment we have a socialist-dominated parliament, and they are the tail end of the woke movement. And why you're still seeing it in our institutions is because legislation from initiation to follow through is about 18 months. So it's a very long tail. So when it's actually dead politically, it's still going to be running through the system. And of course, our institutions are pretty much controlled by those forces. But as far as the public are concerned, I think they've completely seen through it. And it's 9 out of 10 people on the street are not supporting these measures. But as we've seen, whether it's immigration into the Republic of Ireland or immigration into the UK, net zero, many other policies, endless tax rises, our governments are putting through policies which are not supported by the people. But we know where that ends, don't we?
We know where that ends. And, the curriculum in Ireland, as well as UK, and the Natural Women's Council has partnered with different groups in Wales, England, Australia, New Zealand.
Wales,
Public Child Protection Wales, amazing. Kim Isherwood, fantastic woman. So the curriculum reform is guided by, as you know, United Nations and UNESCO frameworks, which are really framed as promoting inclusion and global citizenship. So
things that it's hard to argue against until you read the detail of what they're actually delivering.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same. All government policies are running on the Agenda 2030, right, and the goals, which when you look at them are hard to argue against, but they're actually hiding behind them are very dangerous policies which are taking away freedom, choice, and obviously transing the children.
And how do these global influences that are driving our policy through without the permission of the Irish people or in the UK people, they override local values, parental involvement and sovereignty. So how can we reverse that influence and cut the head of the snake off and cut the globalism off and get back to morality and common sense and safeguarding children? How do we cut that tie with?
Well, I think people are realising that all of the issues that they're not supportive of are emanating from the same place. And I'm afraid, I think globalism is dead. I think Trump's administration are going to end it from the United States. They are still the most powerful country in the world. And this tsunami of truth, whether it's about the COVID-19 vaccines or net zero, they've just turned all that on its head. America will thrive, and that will raise a huge appetite around the world for the same policies. And I think as far as the COVID-19 situation is, there's going to be a tsunami of truth and justice heading across the Atlantic. It will hit Ireland and it will certainly hit the UK. And I think it's going to sweep away at a stroke the self-serving politicians we've got in office in our respective countries at the moment.
I hope so. And what I fear most about Ireland, I was obviously born and raised in America, but I've been here nearly 23 years, is Ireland is pushing it. Even though the rest of the world is reeling back on it, Ireland is pushing it. We're sort of the petri dish for globalism. And if we look back to, I think it was 1961, the thalidomide scandal, other countries banned it, but Ireland for years later was still prescribing this, and 70 children in Ireland were born with damage from thalidomide. So my concern is the children being pushed down the transgender path are losing a lot more than limbs. They're losing their puberty, their fertility. So Ireland, it's irreversible.
Irreversible decisions made at a very young age. If people want to make those decisions when they're at an age of majority, but for goodness sake, leave the children alone.
Leave the children alone.
And also to push trans ideology, which is not science. It's a political. It's a pseudoscience political doctrine.
Yes.
In the UK, it's actually illegal under, I think, the 95 Education Act. You're not allowed to put political ideology to children, and it's no more than that, because there's certainly no science behind it. But I suppose when they persuaded you that a man can become a woman and have a baby, they probably think you've probably had enough of the brainwashing. You don't need any more.
Yeah, that's it. And our the final word I'd love to leave the people here in Ireland with is, for the government that doesn't listen, for the media that continues to slander and vilify us. We know children are getting abused. The Irish government is ignoring the Children First Act, the Education Act, the Constitution, that we're the primary educators. What else can we do as parents to stop this in its tracks and not wait another 5 years for a new government here in Ireland?
Well, no is a very small word. But when millions of people say it together on issues, it will resonate, even in the halls of the self-proclaimed elites who claim to run the world. And we're getting to the point now where people around the world, we're all in the same situation. Mm-hmm. Governments are in lockstep, inflicting unappealing policies on the people, unsupported policies, and and the worm is definitely turning. We're at breaking point in the UK with regards to many issues being pushed through by Starmer's government. I mean, he's got 65% of all the MPs, with probably now less than 10% support in the country. We're in an elected tyranny, and people have had enough, quite honestly. They're going to see what's happening in America. Yes, there is some disturbances, and where those are emanating from, if we track it back, that will be from the UK. That forces in the UK are creating a colour revolution in the United States, very similar to what we did in 2014 to overturn the Ukrainian government.
Yes, yes.
The same forces, the same playbook. Yes. This is all going to come out.
It will, and I think people have to remember that it's small government, big people, and if we can get thousands of people en masse to rise up and take...
Well, I've said it many times, and I'll probably finish with that thought again, is that, it was said that, I think it was Tony Benn, who was a man of the left, but a great parliamentarian and Democrat. He said that, when the people are scared of the politicians, it's tyranny, and that's where we are now. Our people are scared. What are the governments going to inflict on us next? We don't support it. But when the politicians are scared of the people, that's democracy. We're heading to the latter, and we're heading there fast now.
Excellent. Great. Thanks for the chat. I think it's time to go celebrate over an Irish pint.
It's been a lovely day, and there's no better place to be than a Dublin pub.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you.